On today's episode of First Cup, I'm going to unpack my weekend. We've got some jokes for you. Talk about today's episode of Martial Arts Radio and an update on how the flexibility program is going. Stick around for another 13 seconds and we'll get started. Happy coffee. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Monday. It is August 16th, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. So if you're not from New England, you may not have heard the saying, if you don't like the weather, just wait a minute. Last week, we had our second heat wave of the summer, 3 consecutive days over 90 degrees. And in between those days, it did not get below 70 at night, meaning it was kind of gross and a lot of people had trouble sleeping. Well, I woke up today and it was 45. So yeah, it's not quite frost on the grass out back, but it's dew, like it's very condensed. You know, it's not just a little damp. There's a lot of condensation out there, which is why I'm wearing like an actual kind of sweatshirt kind of thing. Now, the first thing to mention, if the internet connection seems rough, I'm sorry. It's this computer. It's the newest computer I own. I don't know what the heck is going on. I'm going to do some work after the show on it. I'm getting notifications from the platform that I use saying, hey, your internet connection's unstable. It's not my internet connection. So I'll probably buy a aftermarket Wi-Fi adapter and do some other things. Actually, maybe I'll just run a cord for this show. Maybe I'll do that. Because I think this has an Ethernet jack. I'll run a cord to the network over there. I can do that. So there you go. We've got a plan. And Dennis, what a good friend you are. Dennis says, on vacation this week, but had to start it off with Jeremy. Well, hey, I can't think of a better way to start anything, but thank you. Actually, I can think of many, many better ways, but I appreciate you nonetheless. A pretty good weekend, a quiet weekend. It was what I needed, working in the yard. Some really interesting stuff going on here. Well, the big thing yesterday, and it's killing me to look out back. At some point, I noticed this Saturday morning, we had some heavy rain last week. I think it was Thursday or Friday. And it broke one of the branches on the apple trees. And I don't mean a little branch. I mean a branch. And good morning, Jared. And that branch was pressing down into the branch below it. And it was touching the ground. And I was going to lose that branch. And so I had to get up there creatively with ladders and various chainsaws and ropes and cut it down. And that was about an hour and a half yesterday. Maybe 2 hours. It was, good morning, Francis. And it was frustrating. And now I'm looking at, there's this big hole where that tree used to cover, where that branch used to cover. I try to take care of my trees. It just makes me sad that I had to do that, you know. Good morning, Stacy. Unrelated to that tree, but I've been spending more time doing a few things. One, being outside. Two, considering unconventional martial arts weapons, and I consider a cane to be an unconventional weapon. Well, this branch came down as I was cutting another piece of apple wood, and it really jumped out to me as a cane. So I'm working on it as such. I spent some time over the weekend sanding it, and I don't know if you can see the grain that's come through. This is old wood. This is really old wood, and I'm kind of excited. I've got to take some of these bigger knots down. I've got to taper this end here. And have you seen the videos of people who make those? Good morning, Stacy. Those live edge tables. You know, where they'll have two like funky edges and they put resin in between. I think I'm going to do that in these splits. I think I'm going to do something like that in there. But it's the right height, and it's kind of monstrous. I could do some damage with this thing. So I thought I would show you. Other things that happened this weekend. So last weekend, I think I mentioned to everybody that my neighbor came over with his tractor and we fixed the cap on the spring-fed well. And then the next step was to figure out how to get the water to drain away because it was pooling down in, and I've got to fill it with rock and everything. Well, I dug a trench, small ditch, about 15 feet out, and it just kept running. There may be enough pressure on that spring, enough water on that spring. I can do something with it. And I'm thinking, I might have my own, I don't know, water feature out back. I got to monitor it, see if it's worth the effort, see if there's enough water coming out of there. But if there is, I might have a fish pond or something. Might be kind of fun. Project for next summer. We're too late. We're too late in the year to do something like that. It wouldn't get established before winter came. And let's see what else. Lots of good food. Running around outside, making applesauce and apple butter and dried apples. And what did I put up? Some apple juice for apple cider vinegar. Just apple, and blueberries. I picked another. This has been the most productive year for that blueberry bush. I probably pulled off 2 gallons of blueberries, maybe more, from one bush. It's nuts. Absolutely crazy. Oh, coffee came out good. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. This thing, I ordered this thing because I don't know why, because I'm a victim of Facebook advertising. And it's alpaca fur. It's like half alpaca, half polyester. And I'm just wearing it up against my skin, and it's actually like, it's kind of nice. Kind of like it. Breathes well. I'm not sure if I like the color. I don't know if you can see. It's like 3 colors, but I figured it'll go with everything. It's going to be a perfect hiking layer. And this kind of weather makes me want to go hiking. I like hiking when it's cool like this because it's easier to maintain temperature. Flexibility program. Let's talk about the flexibility program. So that launched, what was that, Thursday? Friday? We got that out the door? It was Thursday. It was Thursday. And people have been picking it up. Now, of course, it's free. So there's no barrier to entry there. People can grab it and they can try it. I haven't heard I've only heard a little bit of feedback from people. I've had some people I don't know email in with some questions. Some of those questions have been really silly. Like there was one, I think it was on Friday, and I was feeling silly. Somebody wrote in and they said, "Hey, so are there videos or explanations or anything to go with this?" And I wrote back, "Have you opened it up yet?" You know, and I made it very obvious that I was being silly and sarcastic. And they said, "Yes, I have. I missed it when I read through the first time. I found it. Thank you." So that's a bit of feedback. I'm gonna have to make sure that video link or that website link is in larger letters, I think, when we revise it. The other thing is I spent a bunch of time on Friday, and I don't get to do this anymore, but I need to. I spent a bunch of time on Friday really thinking about how we're going to handle programs moving forward and how we're going to handle the programs that we have. And I realized there's a better graphical representation, basically puzzle pieces. And I sketched them out and I got the colors, I did the rough drafts. And so I'm pumped for this because better visuals lead to people taking action. If you think about it, people don't do things, but don't buy things if the photos look terrible. You know, think about if you buy something on Amazon. If the pictures are junk, you're not going to buy it unless you absolutely have to. There's no other option. So we got to make the pictures better. So we will. And I've got ideas. The work that I did on Friday was probably some of the best creative work I've done in a long time, if not ever. I was very proud of myself, and I don't get proud of myself for work very often. Today's episode of Martial Arts Radio, it is out. It should be in your podcast feed. It's on YouTube. You can find it anywhere and everywhere. Is with someone who has a pretty cool story. when we talk to people who come into martial arts via non-traditional paths, and I mean non-traditional by they don't start training at a school. I mean movie stars, stunt people, folks like that. And our guest today is stunt actor turned actor. And if you saw the Netflix movie Army of the Dead, you saw her. You saw her early in the movie. And she's actually got despite the time on screen, it's actually a really cool, kind of iconic element of that film. Danny Bergio. And we had a great conversation. What a wonderful, wonderful person. We recorded this 2 months ago, and we had quite a buffer of episodes ready to come out, and it's out. And she's cool. She's got a podcast of her own, and she's doing more and more acting, and had a fun time talking with her. I think you'll enjoy it. Stacey's in the chat. Can't wait to see the graphics. So you'll see them soon. Part of my plan for this week is to get my mock-ups off to somebody else who does a better job on this stuff than I do. And then once they're back, that will cascade a ton of work on the whistlekick program site. One of the things that has been stressful for me has been the sheer number of things that I should be working on. Can't do it all. And I'm finding that I need to just pick one thing and work on it. Just one thing. What is the thing that requires the most attention right now? It's the programs. So I'm going to work on the programs until either I can't stand working on the programs anymore or I'm done. And by done, I mean I've done enough that it's time to take a step back. What else did I say we're talking about today? Let me check my notes. Yeah, we've got the jokes from Frank. I want to end with those because they're fun. They're a good time. There was something else I wanted to talk about. I didn't write it down. What was it? And those of you in the chat, feel free. Chime in. If there's stuff you want to talk about, let me know. We didn't have as much coming into today's episode as we often do. I did some cleaning around the house, did a bunch of work in gardens, plants. There's lumber coming today for some raised beds, so I'll work on that. I don't know, some point this week. Put those in. So there's fall gardening I want to do, and I'll use those raised beds for that. I could go back to sleep. I really could. Thursday's episode. Let's talk about last Thursday's episode of Martial Arts Radio because we've actually gotten some good feedback. You know, those of you who have been checking out the How to Fight episodes, I think I've mentioned this, but in case not, and we do have plenty of newer people coming into the show. The How to Fight episodes were an attempt to leverage. Stacy, I have lumber coming today too. 2 weeks till testing. Good luck. Good luck. You're going to do great, I am sure. I slept well. I could still go back to sleep. Last night was probably one of the best night's sleep I've had in a long time. And the night before, I think I slept close to 12 hours Saturday night. It doesn't happen often. How to Fight. Boxes of words. If you look around, the things on social media that get the most attention are divisive and inflammatory, and they're either, here's how you do this thing, and they say it very authoritatively, and they do that knowing that they're going to get two groups of people who don't know anything and are going to come in and say and respect that the supposed, whether legitimate or not, authority on the subject, or they're going to get people who feel authoritative themselves on the subject, and they're going to come through, they're going to argue. And those argues are in the form of comments, and they trigger algorithms, and then more people see it. I refuse to stupid, will not do that crap. Authors. It's just, It's exemplary of everything that's wrong with social media. So How to Fight came out of, okay, how do we do something that is similar, but in such a way that it's not argumentative and divisive and inflammatory, all sorts of negative things. Oh, what if we talk about how to fight the characters from the movie? Forget about the people, because that lets us have a little fun with it. You know, instead of saying, here's how I'd fight Steven Seagal, because that's rude. Steven Seagal is a real person, whether you like him or not, whether you respect him or not. He's a real person, and we're not going to do that. That's not what Whistlekick is about. But Nico, whatever his last name is, from Above the Law, is not a real person. So if we take shots at him and the silly things that he does on screen, we're not attacking Mr. Seagal. And that's where that format came from. And so it's kind of the best of both. We get to have some fun. We get to kind of spread what we're doing around social media, but without being jerks. I don't like being a jerk. And from what we've seen, those videos do well. They're not viral. They're not blowing up, but they do better than most of our episodes of Martial Arts Radio. So I hope you guys like them. They're a lot of work. We're probably not going to do more than one or two. Probably more than one a month. And I've said this before, but I want to shout out Julius, who does all of our audio and video editing. Thankfully, when we hired him, I had Nico Toscani. Thank you, Dennis. When we hired Julius, I had no idea that he also did video. And we were talking about something related to needing video. And he's like, I do that too. And I was like, what? So I've been so blessed that Julius does such great work and can have one-stop shop for all the things that we need. And Francis is in the chat being very kind. Exactly, that's a real example of why and how Whistlekick is always respectful first. That is one of the most amazing things about that you do. Thank you. About what you do, I believe is what you meant. Yes. We have to be respectful. You know, I see questions and comments that come up in groups and on other social media accounts, and they lead to negativity. They lead to hate. And it's not just hate of the subject or of the question. It's of the people who answer it. You see the question and you know it's going to go sideways. I won't do that. I won't let the team do that. I don't, I've said it before, I will continue to say it. Where would we be now as an industry if we did not have so much infighting? What if we looked around and said, you know what? Yeah, I'd rather you trained with me and trained here and did this style that I feel really passionate about, but I'm happy you're doing that over there. You can still be happy. People don't get that. A lot of people, their ego isn't sufficient to handle that because they take it personally. What do you mean you're going to go train over there? What, I'm not good enough for you? Well, this school over here seems to have the more of a culture that I'm looking for. The classes are at days and times that work better for me. I have friends that are already training here. This is similar to something that I've done in the past or different than what I've done in the past, and that appeals to me. How many people are going to follow up on statements like that and say, yeah, but, and then take a shot at that school? It's gross. It's absolutely gross. And I'm going through this right now. I sent a message to a new school. I'm interested. I don't think it's what I want, but I feel like it's, good morning, Susanna. I feel like it's kind of my job to know what's going on, at least in our local area, with regard to martial arts. And so I'm probably going to go sit in on a class, which actually that would be tomorrow. They have classes on Tuesdays, so I might go check that out. There are other schools that I'm looking at right now. Actually, had a nice text exchange with Susanna about the school she goes to, which honestly is probably closest to where I want. Fortunately, it's an hour away. This is the hard part about living in rural America. Rural anywhere, your options are limited. If I lived in a city, I'd have half a dozen choices that worked. And that'd be great. All right. Where are those joke strings? Let's try. This is fun. Today we observe two special holidays. It is National Tell a Joke Day and National Roller Coaster Day. So here's some jokes about roller coasters. Oh, heads up. We are slowly confirming more and more people for free training day. November 13th, Saturday, November 13th, Woodstock High School, Woodstock, Vermont. It is free. How do I say this? So Susanna really wants me to come train at her school. Carpool is at 6. There we go. I'm at least going to come check it out. That is for sure. The people that I'm talking to about free training day, we're talking about not just what to present, but how to present it. There are some people that I'm handpicking and saying, let's take this to the next level, not just in quality, but in entertainment value. There are a few things going on. It's going to be a great time. If it's not on your radar, you are silly. You are silly. I love martial arts and I live a couple hours away from Vermont. Why wouldn't you come? Why wouldn't you come? So back to the jokes. Next time I'm on a roller coaster, I'm bringing some nuts and bolts with me. When nearly on the top, scream with a panicked voice at the guy in front. Look, bro, these fell out of your seat. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. So, real talk. I was at where was I at? I was in Old Orchard Beach. This goes back to like 2007. And was about to get on something that spins. One of the spinny ones. And the guy, I was there with my then girlfriend, and the guy comes over and puts the seatbelty thing down on her and just walks away. And he's about, and I'm like, hey, you didn't put mine down. I was going to die. And he's like, oh, sorry. That would have been awful. Stacy's going to be a free training day. Dennis, if you're coming, man, I want you to teach. If you're up for it, let's talk about that. Would love to have you teach, my friend, my brother. Dennis is a good guy. If you haven't listened to Dennis's episode, very powerful episode of Martial Arts Radio. Susanna's going to be there. Most of the chat's going to be there. Plus 100 and some other people. Number 2. I'm no longer afraid to say what I really think of roller coaster height requirements. I've had it up to here. I remember as a kid, not so much roller coasters, but other rides, which I didn't go to very often. My mother wasn't a fan of that stuff. But, I'd hang out with friends and we'd go. And, having to stretch. I mean, I'm not tall now. I'm 5'7". So you can imagine that it was iffy at times clearing some of those height requirements. I have friends now who aren't tall enough. I have a number of friends who are under 5 foot. Wow. Yeah. All right, cool. Dennis is in. Dennis is on the list. We'll connect. We'll talk about it. today's going to be a good day. I can feel it. Got a bunch of meetings, like 6 of them. And then I have a session with my therapist this evening, late afternoon. I've had one this year. I think I only had one, maybe 2 last year. But this is somebody that I used to go see monthly. For almost 10 years, it was monthly. Done some good work. And with all that's gone on, I'm in need of it. Reached out last week and made some time. And I share that because one of the things that I'm trying to be better about, and one of the things I think the world should be better about, is admitting when you need help, that you're getting help. And I think we need to have open discussions about physical and mental health because they're important. Why didn't the rooster go on the roller coaster? He was chicken. Roller coasters are fine. I've been on them. They're okay. They're cool. But there are people who really get into roller coasters. There's a, if I remember correctly, isn't there a wooden one at Great Escape, which is a Six Flags property outside of Albany, New York? Pretty sure there's a wooden one there. And it feels weird to be on a wooden roller coaster. All the noises, all the clickety clackety. Like it's like, is this safe? Are you sure this is safe? Karate therapy. Stacy says, take time for you. Healers and teachers of all kinds are important. I completely agree. Yes, there is a wooden one there. Just like they say on the airplane, fasten your mask before helping others. I'll always take care of you. Yeah. There's a wooden one at La Ronde in Montreal over the river. Oh, I did not know that. Now that the border is open with Canada, I was having a conversation with Andrew. Andrew had to pop over the border to deliver some drums. For those of you that don't know, Andrew, our Andrew, is a drummer and teaches drumming and sold some drums to someone who lived in Quebec. And they met over the border because it was cheaper than shipping them, apparently. And so he went last week once the border was opened. And so I kind of picked his brain because I miss going to Montreal. Though, for those of you who, I don't think there are a whole lot of places in the US that would feel this way. But Montreal's a big city. Like, it's a big European style city. And for those of us in Vermont, it's a big deal because it's right there. It's closer. The IKEA outside of Montreal is closer than the one here in Massachusetts. Great bagels. Like, it's in 3 hours, I can be in like a whole other world, and it's a lot of fun. Great museums. And so for the last year and a half, we haven't had that. So it's like, okay, can I go now? They really don't want us coming over. And they're doing pretty much everything they can to kind of deter. So I'm not going to go yet because folks from Quebec are already, they can already be a little unfriendly to Americans. Let's put it that way, even when they come here. So we'll wait. Oh, Andrew's in the chat. He said it was pretty easy. Susanna's never been to Montreal. Oh, well, we should fix that. We'll take a field trip. I don't know what to. We'll go hang out with GSP. And our last joke for the day. And I'll send you on your way. Why did a Buddhist fall off the roller coaster? Because he had no attachments. Good stuff. Thank you, Frank. And remember, all of you can leave questions, comments, things that you want me to talk about, either in the chat, if it's something smaller and that applies to what we're talking about then, or the best way, leave it in the comment section under the YouTube video for this stream or the Facebook video for this stream, or if you listen, because yeah, there's an audio version, you can email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a lot of fun. I hope you're productive. I hope you train. If you haven't checked out the flexibility program, do it because it's free. Just do it. You don't even have to give an email address. And I'll see you tomorrow, bright and early. Take care, everybody. Peace.